Okay, so for obvious reasons, we're recording this session because some people are in parts of the world where they can't join right now and they will need to catch up on the learning points. So I hope that's cool by everyone. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to roll. Thank you for the energy in the chat box. I'm glad you can see my slide. I am happy to be here with everyone. Okay, thank you for sharing this with your friends. This is the flyer that brought us into this room today. And I'm really excited because there's a lot we're learning. The topic for today is growing your career while working at your job. And we're going to jump right into it. So who is the organizer of this session? Like I said, it's been such a long time since I facilitated. So today that I get the chance to facilitate, today that my people gave me an opportunity, a platform to share, let me, introduce to you DYP, Dear Young Professional, right? So DYP is a community of young professionals. And in this community, thank God you didn't miss so Boluti Fair. So DYP is an amazing community of young professionals, right? The vision of DYP is to produce well-rounded young professionals whose contributions fuel the economic growth and empowerment of enterprises across Africa and the world. Okay, in simple terms, or in simpler English, what DYP is trying to do is help young professionals like you and I, all right, have a holistic life, build a holistic life, okay, and then go ahead and take from what we have to build great organizations or to influence or impact great organizations to the end that we have better economic growth and development across Africa and the world. So you're in great company today. Our mission statement is we inspire and equip young professionals through training like the one we're having today and coaching interventions to embrace the dignity of labor and commit to a culture of excellent stewardship in their personal and professional lives. DYP is an amazing community, all right? And then I'm sure that at the end of the session, the moderator would come around to say more about DYP. I just thought to let you know who organized this amazing session that you're joining today. Okay, a little bit about me, just in case you haven't met me. My name is Christina, like you already heard. There are a lot of amazing things about me that I like to share with you, but we'll get to learn a bit more about me, my story, my journey as we progress with this session. But for now, what I'll have you know is that, like I was introduced, I'm learning and development professional. Like this is what I do, and this is what I love doing. I've been privileged to design and deliver trainings for a number of corporate organizations, including the ones you see on the screen right now. My background is in accounting. I'm a chartered accountant, but I've evolved into doing the thing that I love, the work that I love, and thankfully I get to impact professionals from entry level all the way to C-suite level every other day. And I love that. I love that. Okay. Anybody wants to build a career like mine, say hi in the chat box. Let me know if there's any budding L&D person or somebody already functioning in L&D space. Do I have any colleague in the building? Let me know. Hey, I see some highs. That's good. That's good. Okay. So tonight, what inspired this session? Was present at one of your Stanbic trainings. Thank you, Foma. Thanks for mentioning. It's good to have you here as well. So what's the driver for this session? So every month, DYP focuses on a particular topic, right? On this a subject area. And then we share knowledge about that on our social media pages and go ahead to also, hi Shaito, go ahead to also have a learning session like this one. And this particular topic, is born out of the reality that there's a lot of us who are doing jobs, but are not building careers. And we want to go into that today. And the reason why it would seem that the DYP team nominated me to take this session is because this is a subject area that I teach about. I've been writing about for a while. I even have a book on it, titled Dear Young Professional. And a whole chapter is devoted to the conversation around job and career. Because why this is so important, let me not jump ahead of myself, but you will see why this is so important as we progress on the journey today. So as we go together, please make sure that you're somewhere where you can write. Like today's session, we're going to do a lot of, I'm not just here to give you knowledge. You're coming out of this session with action plans. So I need you to engage with this session actively, very, very actively. Notepad, pen, very important. We've already done our introduction. I'll tell you the difference between a job and a career, just in case you don't already know. We will do a self-assessment to say, oh, am I doing a job? Am I only doing a job, or am I also building my career while at my job? All right, we'll talk about reasons why your goals will evolve, and you see why that's important as we go ahead. We'll have some personal reflection, do a scenario analysis, and then talk about how we can accelerate our career growth. Okay, wow, time is flying. Hey, God. Let's move, people. All right, job or career? Job or career? Let me know if you think that these two terms, let me know if you say that job, career are the same thing. Say yes in the comment section. But if you say job, career are different things, say no in the comment section. So let's go. Let me have an idea of what we think. Okay, job, career. If you think it's the same thing, yes. If you think they are different, no. Okay, I see a lot of no's flying in. I'm waiting for at least one yes. I see a lot of no's flying in. Okay, let's move, right? They're actually different. But what is also interesting is that a job is a subset of a career. Your job is a subset of your career. Okay, so they're not different as in they're in two different worlds. But a career encompasses so much more than just a job. All right, so let's talk about this in a bit more detail. And this is just as a way of introduction, this is not where we're going. So a job versus a career. So this is a quote out of the book, My Book, Dear and Professional. A job is done, a career is built. So you do a job, you build a career. And I believe that I have people in this room who want to build, okay? A job is done, a career is built. A job is a short-term commitment to a role. A career is a long-term commitment to an evolving goal. Now in the book, you won't see the word evolving. I just say a goal. And that's because in the book, I have an opportunity to explain that your goal will evolve. But I've introduced that word here because we're dealing with a quote and I don't want someone to run with this out of context. So yes, your goals will evolve, but your career is you working towards a goal. You have a long-term commitment to something bigger, something in a big picture. So your job, you will do jobs while building a career, but you can do jobs and not build a career. I'll take that again. You will do jobs while building a career, but you can do jobs and not build a career. What does that mean? Your career encompasses, beyond doing jobs, it's also the efforts like taking trainings or writing a professional exam, everything that you do towards achieving a goal that you have set for yourself, that you have envisioned and decided that, you know what, this is where I want to arrive in my career. And why it evolves is because, think about it, anybody here who has worked for at least a few years, let me know. Your goal when you started working, your first job versus what you're working towards now, has it evolved? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat box. What you were trying to achieve when you started working versus what you're trying to achieve after a few years of working, has it evolved? Yes or no? I see a lot of yeses in the chat box. Yes, absolutely. Why? Because you are evolving. So certainly your goals will actually evolve as well, right? As you evolve, your goals will evolve. And I will tell you what accounts for that evolution as we go forward, later in this training, so that you can appreciate why it's important for your goal to evolve. But why some people go ahead and just sit back and say, oh, I'll just do jobs as they come. There's no need for setting goals, because either ways, before I even started school, I wanted to be a doctor. Then my school gave me, you need this or you need that, gave me. So in fact, pressure tiwa. Everything has scattered. So there's no point. I'll just go with the flow. No need having a plan. All the plans I have didn't work so far, right? So some people decide to just go with the flow, in quotes. But the danger with that is Imagine you go, like, this is an example like my mentor shares a lot. Imagine that you see somebody walking down the road and you go to them, adulthood is joke. Exactly. Adulthood that happened to you. Imagine you see your friend walking down the road and hey, you stop and how you doing and everything. Where are you off to? And your friend tells you, I don't know. And like, no. Like, you're on the road, like, where are you going? Like, which way are you headed? And the person like, I don't know. Please tell me, what would you feel in that moment about your friend? Please tell me in the chat box. This friend you met on the road. You're like, guy, how far? How you doing? And everything. And you're like, where are you headed? And the person's like, I don't know. Okay, which way? I don't know. Please, what will be your response? Tell me in the chat box to that situation. How will you feel about that situation? Right? Exactly. Someone says, say no to drug abuse. You'll be like, this person is definitely on something. Something is not right. You feel confused. You feel like this person is mentally unstable. Exactly. That's what it's like when we ask you, where are you headed? Or this is a popular question, what's your career goal, or where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you say you don't know. It's a challenge because what speed without direction? You want to move fast, but you don't have direction. Remember the keyword, evolving. Where you see yourself will keep getting bigger and better. It will keep evolving. But at every point, right now, I know where I want to see myself in 5 years. Ask me in 2 days' time. It may have evolved and gotten bigger and clearer, because as I move, clarity is on the road. As you move, things get clearer, you evolve, and so do your goals. But to not have anywhere you see yourself, what you're even envisioning for yourself, where you want to see yourself a few years or so down the road, makes us wonder about you. I hope you appreciate that point, because I know people have argued about the whole ready to yourself in 5 years. And I'm saying that the problem is that we think that if I say it now, what if I'm not there in 5 years? But it's okay. In 5 years, you could be somewhere else. That's the whole point. The goal will keep evolving. But with what you know now about yourself, with the information available to you, you need to be able to articulate at every point, what am I working towards? So that it informs your growth and development, especially also in the area of your career, across your life, actually. Let's move, all right? So let's do a self-assessment. In the next few slides, if you walk with me, you'll be able to ask yourself some questions to know if you're currently just doing a job or actually in a building a career situation. So let's move together. Are you doing a job or are you building a career? I want you to assess yourself. This is not the time to think about that your friend and say, hey, you see, so person is not doing X. So this is about you. So let's focus on you tonight. Are you doing a job or are you only doing a job or are you building a career? Remember, we already said this. To build a career, you will do jobs. All right? So let's go. All right. Someone says, I'm building a career already. I like that. Let's affirm that with the next few slides. Okay. Number one way to assess yourself, your personal drive. Do you have a personal drive or not? In other words, do you even have self-drive? A number of people actually are just showing up, dragging themselves out every day. All right. I like your honesty. Job only, no wahala. We'll work on that together. Some people do not have any drive. They are just showing up because they have to show up. Like that personal motivation. Do you have a sense of a personal motivation towards your job? What is driving you? Is there something driving you that is personal to you? That's the key word. Not just something that has to do with maybe your boss. Oh, I had to show up because, hey, if I don't go to work, they will strangle me or I'll get a query. What's your personal drive? Is there any personal drive connected to the work that you do? That's the first thing. That's the first point of assessment. I hope you're assessing yourself. Someone is unmuted.
She called me.
She's coming in the house?
No, she's coming here.
All right. Sorry about that, everyone. So please help me with that so that you can just help me mute people. Some people could unmute themselves in error. All right, let's go ahead. Thank you. So personal drive, that's point number one. Let's go to point number two, primary focus. Primary focus. All right. What's your primary focus? What's your primary focus? Is your primary focus with regards to your job, the amount that will hit your account at the end of the month only? That's just why you're here. Like that's the genesis and revelation of why you're on the job. Is that the primary focus? Or is your primary focus something bigger and better? Absolutely, I agree with you, yes. And it's not a bad thing to look forward to getting paid. Hey, I mean, I'm going to be unrealistic if I'm here telling you it's not about the money and all that. No, but the key word here is primary. Primary, right? Money is part of the things, it's one of the reasons why we work. We need to get paid and everything, but is that the primary focus? I'll tell you what I mean by this. I was watching a documentary with my husband a while back about children, about babies actually. And, I was so fascinated by how, like, someone can actually just devote themselves to studying concepts like, when babies sleep, what goes on in their brain. Like, if you see some of the things that people commit themselves to doing, you just be like, how is it that somebody is so fascinated by baby sleep that their focus, the focus of their life is, to crack it and say, oh, what happens when babies sleep? How can we help babies optimize their sleep? It was a whole documentary around babies, babies eating, they're sleeping, their growth. And you see people who have gone to higher levels of education, doing research, committing hours, long hours to crack it. And you're like, what is driving these people is beyond money. It's not just money. They're trying to add value. They want to be remembered for something. They're trying to add value to a body of knowledge or a body of work that exists. They're trying to solve a problem. I mean, think about it. If it was money driving Thomas Edison, he would have given up long before he reached a breakthrough with his inventions. That's the point about primary focus. Money is so temporal. Money is fleeting. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there. So if it's your primary focus, it's going to mean that you'll probably be demotivated a number of times when the money is not there. But it's just something else that you are looking at that is fueling your desire, that is fueling you every day, a problem you're trying to solve, something you're trying to, what keeps you awake at night? What makes your baby leap? What's your primary focus? Because that flows into your life in terms of doing a job or building a career. If your primary focus is just temporary things like money, right, it means that you only be moved by the money. But if your focus is on something bigger, something you're trying to solve, something you want to be remembered for, a legacy you want to leave behind, that's such a powerful driving force as well. I hope we're getting this. Please let me know, is it making sense to you? Let me know in the chat box. All right, point number 3. Thank you for the feedback. Point number 3, how do you know if you're doing a job or building a career? Just doing a job or building a career, your learning disposition. Thank you for the feedback, everyone. Your learning disposition. Are you constantly in learning mode? Or are you giving to learning? Or you're someone that even when the session is free like this one, you will still not come. You're too busy. You're working, but you're not growing. You've not added any body of knowledge to the one that you had when you started that job. And this is not just about taking a professional exam, writing an exam. Because some people write the exams and it's just because they have to. They're not even giving to the learning process. Are you giving to learning? Because it's easier to be giving to learning when there is a big picture that you're working towards. People who always come and say, oh, I'm busy. I mean, think about it. Some of the busiest people in the world, you see them talk about how many books they are reading, how many this they are doing, and how many courses they are attending. And you're always like, I don't have time. Maybe the real issue is that you don't have a big picture you're focused on. Maybe the real issue is that whatever is driving you is not powerful enough to keep you learning. Why is learning important? Because learning focuses on your becoming. You can't keep doing and lose touch with becoming. So when you're learning constantly, you are becoming, you are evolving. And if you have something big that you're working towards, you will know that the version of you that you are now needs to evolve. You need to become a higher version of yourself to be able to step into that level that you're aspiring to get into. So maybe the real problem is that there's nothing you're aspiring to get into, to achieve, to become. So that's why you're okay with doing and doing and doing and doing, and you're not learning. And like I said, learning is not just going to school or taking courses. Learning is also on the job. I remember, for example, I was working at a particular time in a season where that job was not one I enjoyed a lot because it puts me behind the laptop working on Excel sheets day and night, right? But I wanted to learn so much. I wasn't a voracious learner. Like, I'll be meeting my seniors to say, hey, what can I help with? What are you doing? Can I help? Can I help? Can I help? And I was doing that because I knew that I was going to be in the organization for a limited time. And when I had left, I want to make sure that I've learned enough. Because in that learning, I was becoming a type of person. And it's showing in my life to you today. So it's not only when you go and pay for something, it's also leveraging opportunities to learn where you are. But yes, even paying for courses is part of it. How much can you invest in yourself for where you are going? Take, for example, if you're thinking about a global, if your vision for your career, if where you want to get to is something that is international, you already know that you have to be paying for international courses. There's no particular course I'm currently taking that the thousands of dollars that has gone into it. I'm just like, oh, more. My global version got to show up. But it's worth it because I'm in a room with people from different parts of the world. That level of interaction is what I need because I want to serve the international community as well. But it's costing me. So how much are you willing to invest in yourself? What's your learning disposition? How ready are you? Okay? And finally, goal alignment. Guys, you have to pray for me because time is running. It's obvious I will not get to the end of my slide today, but I want to get as far as I can. Goal alignment. One of the questions I like to ask every time I'm in an interview situation, when I'm interviewing, is one of my final questions. I would always ask, or I would typically ask, how does this role you are applying for help you achieve some of your personal goals? I always ask that question. Because what I'm looking for is I want to see that there is something personal in it for this person. Even if it was just, oh, by working in this role, I will earn enough money. I'll be able to save up to go for my master's. At least I know that there is something in it for you. Like you have identified, like corporate has exchanged hands or has, there's a handshake between your personal goal and the corporate goal. So you are more likely to have staying power because there's something in it for you. So is there an alignment between your personal goal, your career goal, or your personal goal, and the corporate goal in the place that you are working now? What does that mean in simple terms? By taking that job, is that something you will have been able to achieve for yourself personally? I remember that was a particular job I was on in a season of my life. And one of the major handshakes that was happening for me is in that environment, I was being made to do a number of presentations. I was doing presentations frequently. Apologies, everyone.
That's I just ignored him.
Victoria, please, you keep unmuting yourself. Please look out for that so it doesn't keep happening. Thank you. Right, so what's that exchange between your corporate goal, your personal goal and the corporate goal? Like I was saying, in one season of my life where I was working, one of the things that was in it for me was I was being made to do a lot of presentations. And I knew that I'm heading towards learning and development. I was being groomed and pushed forward to make presentations to senior executives with my small, tiny frame. But I knew that that was going to be an opportunity for me to grow my presentation skills. That's something personal needs for me. At different times, in different seasons, what's in it for you? That's really what I'm asking. What's in it for this job? What's in it for you? Sometimes you work in a particular role, and I worked in a role, for another example with myself, where I so badly wanted to succeed on that role because I knew that the next role I was going to be applying for after that particular job is such a senior role that I needed to demonstrate this level of competence in terms of revenue generation. So I was going after revenue very intensely because I knew that it was going to count for my next level. So there's an exchange, there's a handshake. So the stake is high. I have a stake in this personally. So because of that alignment, I have staying power. So my question to you is, what's in it for you? What's in it for you? It doesn't have to be everything about the job. Like what's the aspect, okay, in this job, you're going to be writing a lot of reports. Oh, I know that I need to improve my report writing skills. So this job is going to help me do that. That's something, that's a stake for you there. Oh, it could vary, cut across different things, but what is in it for you? So based on these 4 points, I need you to assess yourself based on your drive, your focus, your learning disposition, and your goal alignment. So ask yourself, is this happening right now in my life? Is there an alignment in my current job? Have I been driven towards learning? What has been driving me? Or do I even have any personal drive? What has my focus been? Then you can give yourself feedback. So now I want to advance quickly. Remember this quote I shared. I want to talk to you about why your goals evolve. And again, people, please pray for me. The time is flying, right? Why do your goals evolve? They evolve, and I already gave you a background because I'm going somewhere at this point. Because we're now advancing in this class, all right, towards where I need us to get to, the real meat of the matter. I know, right? Time waits for us. All right. So that word evolving, I've already emphasized this point, that goal you're looking at in your career, that place you want to be, that's where do you see yourself in 5 years, where do you see yourself in 10 years? It will keep evolving, and it's okay. So many people don't set goals, career goals, because they're like, what's the point? I don't even know where in Nigeria they carry me go. I don't even know what's going on. Anyway, let me just do whatever comes. But like I said, what's the point of speed without direction? The goal will keep evolving, and it's okay. But please have direction. What does evolving mean? To develop gradually. It will keep evolving. Tomorrow you read a book and you realize that, maybe I should make an adjustment here. You adjust, you keep going. Ask most of the people that you look up to today, where they are now or what they're working towards now is not where they always saw themselves. It evolved, it got better, bigger, clearer, and they kept moving. Okay? So what makes our goals evolve? Reasons why our goals evolve. I want to touch on this quickly because you need to be conscious of this so that you also can measure your growth as a career professional. And these things are important because if there's no career goal, then what are you even working towards? How do you then know if you're actually working towards something? So reasons why your goals evolve. 3 E's: exposure, experience, enablement. Exposure, experience, enablement. What about a psychology graduate in finance? Not bad. Not bad. Many of us have, pivoted or pivoted. Don't worry. You're in safe hands. So let's talk about these 3 things quickly. Exposure influences your evolution. And this is why I'm sharing this, because I need you to be so intentional about your evolution, because it will then influence the pace at which your vision is clearer, your goals get bigger. Exposure. What are you exposed to? These are the things that influence your evolution. What are you exposed to? What are you exposing yourself to? If you look at your life currently, the results you are producing in your life have been influenced significantly by these factors we're talking about now: exposure, experience, enablement. What does exposure speak to? The people you've been exposed to. The number of people is not a coincidence that a number of people are in the same profession as their parents, or one of their parents, or their favorite uncle or auntie. Because They were probably exposed to that professional line as a result of being exposed to that person and being in love with that person. So that influenced their judgment about, oh, I'm going to study law in school. So you say a family where parents are lawyers, or one parent is a lawyer, 2, 3 children are lawyers. Like I'm trying to explain exposure to you. Your exposure, you know, yes, exposure is just so powerful. It's powerful. What you expose, the kind of materials you've read, the kind of clubs or societies or associations you've been in. If the results you're displaying right now in your life, your career life inclusive, are being influenced by what you've been exposed to. I mean, there are some things, all you know now is not all that there is to know. So maybe I've been exposed to that. That's why I don't know which one I was. I mean, of course, exposure is multiple, but you find that even where you are now, that's the point. Look back, you will be able to trace it to something. Maybe it was, that uncle in your life that is an accountant that advised you, go and write ICANN. Now that you finish school, write ICANN. But as a result of that exposure to that person, it has influenced your decision on your career path. So that means that the more your exposure, the higher the quality of things you expose yourself to, the higher the quality of the goal that you set for yourself. So somebody who has, for example, been exposed to, personally, as a result of being exposed to a number of people who work in the international space, I'm saying like people in my industry, but who are, in different countries, I have certain goals for myself now that I would never have I didn't even know that those things existed 5 years ago. I didn't even think them possible. But now I've seen that, this is happening in X country. Exposure. Some people, I'll give you a typical example again. Some people in Nigeria are prospering in businesses that they traveled abroad, saw a particular service or a particular business. I'm like, we don't have this in Nigeria. Let me go and set it up in my country. And then they come and bring that idea home, localize it, and they're doing well. If they did not make that trip or never got exposed to that business, can you see, they would not have been able to produce that kind of result in their life. Do we get this? So that's why things like traveling on vacations, going for courses, is all an intentional attempt to expose yourself to higher levels of thinking so that it can influence you enough to influence your goals and ultimately your results. So it's important what you expose yourself to and who you expose yourself to. All right? Experience. Very important. The experiences you have. Okay? So personally, for example, I started to work from my 100 level summer holiday. I took my first employment, like I was dressing up, going to the office, I was a secretary in a particular organization. Because of the work experience I had, it has significantly influenced my career goals. Because I started so early, I've experienced so many work environments. I already know that some for me. By experience, I know some environments where I may not thrive. And if I'm approached for certain kinds of jobs, I won't take them because I already know by experience that this is not for me. All right. So your experience, your work experience, and this is why if you're an undergraduate on this call, I really encourage you, start to build experience already. When you have holidays and all that, don't waste it. All right. Go ahead and volunteer somewhere. Even if it's, someone like me, I grew up, closing from school and resuming at my mom's shop. So that significantly has an impact on me today. That experience, all right? Basically, it's almost like I worked all my life. That's how I feel sometimes. But because of the experiences I've had, what do experiences help you do? They help you discover yourself, discover your gifts, your talents, your strengths, your weaknesses. They help you develop your skills as well. So as you gather experience, it influences your career goals. So don't just sit there. That's why I always say to people, don't say, oh, I don't have work, I couldn't get this. There may not be a lot of job offers, but there's a lot of work to do. You attend a church, for example, go and ask, how can I volunteer? While you wait to get a job. But it's better to volunteer than to sit idly because experience is helping you and already shaping your career perspectives. Okay? And the third thing is your enablement. Your enablement in summary are, remember we're talking about the things that influence your career goals, make them evolve. Your enablement, as you uncover your talents, your skills, your giftings over time, you will be able to shape your career goals better. For example, someone like me, one of my enablements in this life, all right, is speaking and in fact teaching. It's something that has been with me for the longest time. I was that child that come back from school, go and flog the flowers. I say I'm teaching them. You know, in university days, I was, people who used to, organize tutorials and co. I'll be invited by my colleagues, my classmates to teach tutorials before exams and all that. So it has always been an enablement for me. Enablement first, your skills, your talents, your gifts, things you're good at, right? But those things, some of you have enablements that you have not discovered because some of them are uncovered as you gain experience. It's that you're in an environment that causes you to use them, you realize that I'm actually good at this, or this is a strength for me. And as you realize and uncover your strengths, it should begin to influence your career goal because you should be trying to play to your strength as much as possible. You should be trying to play to your strength. All right. So thank you for the comment, Bolife, right? So by all means, these things, as you discover, as you get exposed to more information, more people, more knowledge, gather experience, discover your enablement, these things begin to shape your career goal. So at one time in my life, I actually thought that I'll make an amazing accountant. So I went ahead to do ICANN, get chartered, work as an accountant. And because of my personal, value system, I did thrive in terms of, being a valuable member of the team. I wasn't struggling in terms of results, but I was struggling in the place of fulfillment and satisfaction. It just went off because I was spending my whole day or a lot of time, hours behind a laptop, working with numbers, whereas I was yearning to be with people and share knowledge. And so an example of exposure, when I was working in one of my earliest organizations, right, I got exposed for the first time to the concept of corporate training. Because when I graduated from school, everyone was like, oh, Christina, you're such a good teacher. Come and lecture. I like teaching, but I didn't see myself in academia just yet. So I wasn't sure what to do with this enablement that I have. Remember, guys? And, this thing that I'm praised for. But what helped, by the time I was working in this organization and we were scheduled for trainings and there was this organization that came to train us and I saw these young people, looking so good there. We're in this room and we were facilitating sessions, time management. I'm like, wow. I was sitting in that room and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be like these people. It was like an aha moment, like, yes, there is room to teach in the corporate space. Because of that exposure, I was able to now relook at myself and say, career goal, gotta change. This is me. This is what I want to be. So by reason of that exposure, all right, I was able to come to terms with what would be better suited for me and then go ahead and now adjust my goals. That no, you know what, this is where I see myself in 5 years. All right. And so I'm just trying to use myself as an example. What if I never took that job? By taking that job, that experience, getting that experience, I was able to also gain exposure that helped me uncover how my enablement can function in the corporate space. Exposure brings clarity, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So now let's do an exercise together. My God, time is gone. This may be the final thing we're able to do today. And if that's it, it's okay. I really hope I hope it is following because I trust that this session would help somebody go back and be able to shape their career goal, have something they're working towards. All right. So I want, if you've not been working with a book and pen, this is the time to grab one because it's about to get practical. All right. So let's go. Now I'm passing the baton to you. And I'm asking you a critical question. What do you desire? I'm sorry, guys. See in the comment section, you want to be here longer. I don't want to keep you too long. But this is a crucial part. This is a crucial part. What do you desire for your career? And if you are struggling to answer this, one of the things I learned from my mentor, one of my mentors, my phenomenal mentors, is Mr. Bankole Williams, right? I learned this from him, and it's something I experienced myself. But when I heard him articulate, I'm like, yeah, this is what happened to me. And that's what I just shared with you earlier as well. If you're struggling, one of the ways to figure out what you desire for your career life is from who you admire in the career space. I'll take that again. One of the ways to uncover what you desire for your career life is by who you admire in the career space. So in simple terms, if you're confused about, I'm not sure what I love doing, I'm not sure what I want to do, I'm not sure where I see myself in 5 years, who is it that you look at right now that looks like they are way ahead of you, but you desire to be them or to be like them, to do the kind of work that they do, to have the kind of results that they have, to live the kind of life that they live? Because, like I shared with you just now, when I sat in the class with my colleagues who were scheduled for training, for some of my colleagues were so unhappy to be in the place. Like, can these people just teach what they want to teach and go? But for me, I was enjoying the training because I was seeing myself. I'm like, as these people were teaching, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to be them. I just want to be them. All right. So, and this is something that also happened to my mentor. You know, he was in a room one time. I mean, summarized version of the story. And basically, you know, someone who he admired, you know, came to facilitate a session. And this person was taking them through a session. He realized that, oh my God, this is who I want to be. And this is how I also connected with this person as my mentor, because I'm like, wow, this person has gone ahead in this field that I want to build in. And then we connected on that level. If you feel like you've not seen someone like that, remember those factors: exposure. It means that perhaps, because some people spend their university days just going from class to hostel, class to hostel. This thing, you have to start early. And if you didn't start early, it's okay. It just means that you may need to up your game and expose yourself to more environments, more situations, more people. If you're someone whose life is very narrow, you may really struggle because you don't get a chance to meet a lot of people, to experience a lot of people. You're not exposed to a lot of examples. So you're struggling. This might be the reason. So it may mean that you need to expand your exposure. Maybe the people in your circle are only your friends from secondary school. Maybe the places you go are only the familiar. Do you go to unfamiliar terrains? Do you sometimes sign up for a training that, hey, you've never been there, never done that, but hey, let me just go and see what goes on? You need to step out and see the world, literally, and experience the world, right? And so when you experience people, oh, see my guy is here, Mr. B, shout out to you, sir. It's so good to have you, sir. Thank you for being here. So that's a good place to start. For you, it may not be someone you are seeing. Some of you already know what you want, maybe some people have divine revelation and all that. But I'm trying to help someone who is saying, Christina, I don't know what I desire. And this question is so important. I'm okay landing here. Why? Because some people, right, are just, they know what they don't want. I hate this job. I hate this. I hate that. Okay, what do you want? No answer. They don't know what they want. And it's a challenge, because then how do you even reach for something? So this question is important. What do you desire? I want you to think about it tonight before you go to bed. That's what we mean when we ask you what's your 5-year plan. And like I said, remember, your desires will evolve as you evolve. And it's okay. It's okay. As you see more examples, you realize that, hey, one time, this is what I wanted to be. This is what I wanted to be like. Then I experienced John C. Maxwell. I'm like, my goodness, I love this man. I want a legacy like him. And that has influenced my career goal. Start taking things a notch higher. You will evolve, and so will your desires. And by extension, your goals. But at every point, what do you desire? Okay, let's go to the next question. I'm sure that I'm hoping that I'll be able to help someone, because some of you feel like you hate your job and work life because you don't even know what you're working towards. Thank you. I like the feedback I'm seeing in the chat box. All right. So let's go to the next question. I need to round up now, okay, so that I can take questions from everyone. So please prepare your questions. We're going to answer questions together. So the next question you have to answer is, how can I live out my desire today? How can I live out my desire today? The key word there is today. You know why? Because so many people say, I'm working towards it. This is what you desire, but what you're doing today has no bearing. And by what you're doing today, you may not currently be working a job that is obviously, taking you to where you desire to be. But you may be taking a course on the side that is preparing you for your desired life or the desired career you're working towards. And that counts. So the question is, what can you do today about what you desire for your career life? That place you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, that career goal that you set in line with what you desire, what can you do about it today? Is it a course you can take? Some people, like, for example, where you are now, like I said, probably feels like a mismatch. Okay, it's okay. Don't quit. This is not you think I was going to come and tell you to quit your job? You go nowhere. That's not step one. People get it wrong. They quit because they're not feeling good and I'm not feeling the job. That's not step one. So how can you live out your desire today? What can you do today about that desired career goal? You go nowhere, yes. What can you do today? What do you have? What skills, what relationships, what resources can you leverage today so that you can do something with that? So, and this is an important question. So how can you live it out today? How? I'm helping you break it down further. What do you have? So for me, for example, at one point, I was working as an accountant, right? But I desired to facilitate trainings. So what do I have? I have my teaching skill. I can teach. I'm using myself as an example. What can you do with what you have? For me, it was volunteering. So I started out by volunteering on my weekends when I was not working. I was going with my mentor to class where he was teaching different banks and facilitating trainings. And I would go there to just sit down and watch and learn. The reason that is so helpful is because in those experiences, you get to either strengthen your desire for that thing, or you realize that, oh no, this thing is not for me. It looked nice from a distance, but it's not for me. So remember exposure. You're consciously now looking for opportunities to expose yourself to that life that you desire in the long term, in whatever small level you can do it now. But you will start something now, not tomorrow. Yes. Okay. So, and the third thing here is, how will you advance? Remember, we're answering how you can live out your desire today. So having identified what you have now, what you can do with what you have now. So the next thing is that, how will I advance? In other words, how do I make this bigger and better? Example, do I need further studies? For me, for example, I'd sign up for courses, like I mentioned in this training, international courses, because now I want the international stage. And thankfully, I'm already getting there. I'm already stepping into those zones. Okay, so how do I advance? Now I'm doing this thing, this smaller version, but how do I advance into the picture I see for 5 years' time? Do I need to get mentored? Do I need to take some courses? So this is where you now set your career goal. You now set a goal for yourself based on you need to advance towards that desire. So for example, let me break this down. If you're like me, or let me use myself as an example, I wanted to go from accounting and everything to being one of the most on-demand learning and development professionals in Africa and the world. I started out with volunteering. It was just dropping notebook and pen for people in class who want to be trained. And then I realized that, okay, but this is me, that I'm going, this is my destination, most on demand. One of the most on-demand corporate trainers and L&D professionals. So how will I advance? I need to get international training. So that became a goal for me, which I'm already executing by actually taking some of those trainings. All right. How do I advance certain kind of mentorships? I need to unlock them. All right. How do I advance? I need to attend certain kind of conferences and meet certain kind of people in the industry. How do I advance? I need to attract certain kind of organization. What are they looking for? Are you seeing where career goals are born from? You don't just set career goal because just they say we set goal at the start of a new year. No. Start with what do you desire. Can you see the journey we've gone on? Ladies and gentlemen, are we following? Is this making sense? I'm taking you on a journey. It's based on how you will advance towards your desired career life that you set career goals. You don't set a goal for yourself because you are looking at a big picture. Thank you for the feedback. I'm glad it's making sense. There's a big picture that is driving the goal. There's a vision that you're seeing that is driving the goal you're setting for your career. I'm glad it's making sense. Thank you for the feedback. People, I have to stop. I know I have to stop now. Let me end on this note. Let me end with these two things, scenario 1 and scenario 2, our scenario analysis, because this is important. Someone here is like, Christina, with all these things you've shared, let me wrap up with this. And DYP leaders, please forgive me. I'm going to stop in a few minutes, I promise. Okay? Scenario 1. I want us to look at 2 scenarios, and most of us fall into scenario 1 or 2. And the question is, based on all you've learned, where do you fall and what do you need to do now? We've already been sharing action plans, but this is like me winding down. Okay? Scenario 1, your current job is well aligned with your career goal. Some people are in this scenario. You are currently in a job that aligns well with where you see yourself. I see your plea for me to continue, but no, I will wind down so you can go and introspect. All right? So your current job is well aligned with your career goal. Fantastic. That is good. If you are in this category, here are a few things I want to say to you. Number 1, know what career season you are in and make the most of it. If you read the book, Dear Young Professional, you understand what this means. There are at least 4 career seasons. One of the things that make people experience frustration, even when they are on a journey or in a situation that aligns with their career vision, is not knowing or understanding their season so that they can make the most of it and then get ready for the next season. There's season, there's foundational season, there's apprentice level. There's, I can't go into the details, guys, 4 of them. If you don't know those seasons, just get the book for your own good, all right? But you need to understand your season and make the most of it, okay? Very important. Remember, these are the guys who are in a situation where your job aligns well with your career goal. In other words, there is something in it for you on your current job. There's something in it for you, okay? Number 2, leverage. That's again an author. Okay, okay, someone can help me with that. Shetuto OPJ. You can get towards the end. I'm sure that towards the end, they would also share the details of how you can get the books. Please stick around. This one says best book I bought this year. Fabulous, so good to hear. All right, so let's talk to the guys who are aligned. Leverage your current role to add value and deepen your expertise. Please, you can't be in an environment where you're aligned and you're just playing. Like what comes to mind is go hard. Leverage where you are, grow, give yourself the job, deepen your expertise. Like just throw yourself in. Okay? Next point for you, don't get discouraged. Challenges. Don't get discouraged by challenges. The grass is not necessarily greener on the other side. Some of you here, you're where you need to be. But small issues are beginning to get to you and you feel like you want to quit. Your boss offended you, someone said something, and you just always, the grass always looks greener on the other side. But I can tell you from personal experience that it's not really the case. So don't get discouraged by small challenges. No work environment is perfect. Maybe there's something that is not in that place that you are desiring to have. You would have it. Maybe not there, maybe on your next job. But don't quit because you're running away from something. Quit because, or, I don't, the word quit sounds like quitting. If you're resigning, it's because you're running towards something, not running away from something. That's something I learned from my mentor as well. All right. So please don't allow small things get to you. Be focused. The grass is not necessarily green on the other side. Remember, you will evolve and so will your goals. Practice conscious introspection. A lot of answers lie within you. So even as you're in that place that is aligned with your career goal, please, it's okay. You may you may have a nudge. You may begin to feel like, hey, you may feel, I said something in an advert I did for this event, that emotions are like traffic lights. Sometimes they're a call for you to pause. Something bigger, you're exposed to some new information and you begin to question your career goal. It's okay. It's part of the evolution process. So sit back. What is it I've heard or read or seen or experienced that is making me feel like my goal needs to be tweaked? What have I been exposed to? What's this new thing? And how can I adapt what I've learned, all right, into my career goal? So you will evolve and so will your goals, and that's okay. All right. And finally, please, people like me who are aligned, you are doing the job that you love, let me put it that way, it's aligned for you with your goals. Remember to take breaks and rest. This one is not to self too. Because you know how they always say that when you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work. The downside to that is that you're actually working, but because it doesn't feel like work, you're at risk of working yourself out. And you may not be in a case where you're just exhausted, but you're now doubting everything and questioning everything and feel like I just want to quit. Please rest. Please rest. All right. So finally, I'm landing here. Scenario 2. You can't see the connection between your current role and your career goal. Christina, there is no connection. From what you share, from what I've learned in this session, connection in your career, present. Forgive me. Now, watch my choice of words. You can't see a connection doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I didn't say there is no connection between where you are now and your career goal. I'm saying you can't see it. Because a lot of times, there is a connection. But the beautiful thing about life is that a lot of things make sense in retrospect. So it might be in 5 years' time, you will appreciate your current job has played in you achieving your ultimate goal. It may not be clear now, you may not see it now, but for the most part, it exists. So what do you do? Number one, and this is so important, maintain a good attitude to work. Absolutely favor, hindsight. Maintain a good attitude to work, respect your employment contract. Don't go and be misbehaving simply because this is not who I want to be. You took the job, you're in a contract of employment, you must honor it. Show up, okay? Forget how you feel and do your job. Maintain a good attitude to work. I'm sorry to break your heart. Again, I'm not going to tell you, you're not quitting. You quit nada. You go nowhere. Stay there for now. Your first step is never to quit. If you quit without clarity, you'll probably be more frustrated. At least some level of clarity, okay? So maintain a good attitude. 2, practice conscious introspection. The seed of what you will do next is often in what you are doing now. What does that mean in simple terms? Some of us, your career vision is calling out to you every day, but you are not seeing it because you are just busy. You are too busy. You don't have time to notice anything or have internal dialogue. Do you understand? A lot of you, right there in that employment that you are, exactly. I didn't want to refer to social media, but somebody has said it. You can't always be doing something. You have to have some quiet moments where you even have some self-introspection. So some of you feel like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. Some of the problems are, they're not even, okay, conscious introspection. Let me give you an example of conscious introspection, right? Thank you, Jonathan. Very Mr. Mr. J, Daddy J. I just saw the full name now. It's good to have you, sir. Right? You, example is some of you say, I don't know what I'm good at. In that your office, they'll be giving you feedback. They tell you that you're very good at X. You are so good at this, you're so good at that. Sit down and think about that. That thing that they say I'm good at. What does it say about me? Can I connect it to my remember enablement? You are uncovering your enablement, but you're not introspecting and connecting the dots. The seed of what you will do next is often in what you are doing now. There is something about where you are now that is pointing you to where you are going or where you're supposed to be going. Please open your eyes. Pray to God to open your eyes. It may be the most, like for me, for example, I remember that when I was working in my accounting job, one of the things that helped me realize that I should be doing this thing that I'm doing currently is that when people had presentations, please, oh God, I have to stop. This is my last slide, actually. When people have presentations, they will look for me, say, Christina, come. We want to do a dry run. Like, I was that person that they'll come to here, they'll stand in front of me, make a presentation, I'll give them feedback. Okay, let's adjust this. Let's remove that. Say this, start with this. So if we just look at it, that now, this whole presentation speaking, for me. What gave me the courage to move in this direction with my career? Because it kept calling out to me. I was that person that, even this work we do with DYP, I was the person that, during lunch break, people will come to me and say, Christina, please, let's have lunch together. Then we sit at lunch. They'll tell me everything about how they feel, about their career. We'll walk through stuff together. Okay, you know what? How about this? How about that? Christina, I'm feeling better. Okay, based on what you shared with me, I'll sign up for this. I'm doing that. It's been there. All of that could have been happening. And I'll still be there saying, I don't know what to do in my life. I don't even know what. Introspection. All right. Thank you so much, Osei, for sharing. She says that this point is the story of her life. Where you are prepares you for the next. Yes, it prepares you for the next. And that's why whatever your hand finds to do, do well. So that in future, you don't look back and be like, I should have been more serious with that something. But it's too late. So while you're trying to figure yourself out, where you are, give yourself to it. All right? Identify the benefits of your current job and make the most of them to develop yourself. As you're doing your best, having good attitude, even if this job right now is not exactly connected, or I can't see the connection, what are some benefits of this job? You get to travel, you get to go for trainings, you get more training exposure, you get to interact with international people, you are building confidence. Identify the benefits and leverage them to develop yourself. And then finally, map out your transition strategy. Remember where we are coming from. What do you desire? What do you have? What can you do what you have? How will you advance? If there's more to a transition strategy, I taught an entire class on transitioning. It's available. I'll make the link available. Please, if you don't follow DM Professional on Instagram, please do that. I'll make the link available in our bio. If you're someone who from this class, you know that you will need to transition in your career, please see that this masterclass is priced cheaply because I want everybody to be able to afford it. And it's one of the best investments you can make because transitions can make or mar you depending on how they are handled. Some people left where they were not fit for to chase what they are fit for, but came back and said, it didn't work out. But it's not that it didn't work out. It's the way you transitioned. You didn't do it well. So that's all these things. Someone you now come to a session like this, I'm like, motivational talk. It's not motivational talk. I transitioned. And I've done it successfully. You can do it. But you need to know how. Please, go and look for that masterclass. Follow our Instagram page. Join our community. Someone is coming up shortly. She'll do announcements. Yeah, she will do announcements and tell us about where to get all these resources, Telegram channel, whatever. Just whatever you do, just look for that masterclass. Get the link, pay for it. As in, is every time in fact, that class, the things I shared, they are learning in sweat and blood. I made mistakes. I learned, but I'm happy to share because I remember that when I was going through my own journey, I made a commitment to myself that if I achieve this thing, I will teach others. I will. And I've made it available. The reason there's a price is because I want you to put value on it. It's not for everybody, but it's for those that are serious about transitioning. And if you are, get it. So you need a transition strategy. Get your strategy right and then execute. That strategy would include when you would resign, if you would need to resign. And that masterclass covers it all. All right. But please, your first step after this class is not to go and resign. I did not send you. Brethren, we are all here. Did you hear me say anybody should resign? No. You may have to, but you need to first have a strategy. Otherwise, it will backfire. I'm telling you. Yeah, you need a strategy. You may actually experience a reduction in your income for a while. It will come with a cost. It's not going to be, transitioning has its own cost, but it'll be worth it. Honestly, and this is coming from me, who I can tell you that I'm so glad that I made the move, but it was at the right time. And thankfully, I've been able to work with a few people who have transitioned successfully. And I'm grateful. I'm happy when I see them. So happy. Ladies and gentlemen, everything else in the slide is going to have to wait for a later day. Accelerate your career growth. This is the shortcut. Get the book. Get the book, because that's really what the book is about. Practical insights to accelerate your career growth. I had some points I'll have loved to share, but time is flat out gone. So please, tips to accelerate your career growth. Everything I've shared is very, very important. Once you've gotten it right and you have your goal, you can launch, you can run. But remember, there's no point of accelerating when there's no direction. So please get the book, all right? And ladies and gentlemen, yeah, these are things I was hoping to share, but everything here is covered in the book. Let me just project this slide for the sake of the recording. I'm stopping here. Shetu, to come and take your microphone. Oh. Question time. Shetu, to come for your microphone.
Wow, that was solid. Hey, God. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Let me stop sharing my slides so that we can all see you as well.
Okay.
Fabulous. Yeah, so both of us are on screen now.
Wow, Christina, that was solid. That was solid. Guys, can you please just type in the chat box, thanking Christina. Thank you for such wisdom. Thank you. And you can as well just drop a comment or two on, what your learning point for tonight's session was. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Soname. I love the energy. Thank you for
the
awesome
full name
session.
for me.
Wow, thank you, Christina. Yes, she was born to do this. Thank you. Yes, she's a graced woman. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Before we take questions, I think for the next 1 minute or so, 30 seconds, you can just as well drop in the chat box what your top learning point for tonight's session was, or your light bulb moment. Yes, so no one does it, Christina. Hey, Christina, they're hailing you in the comment section.
I also run away.
So good. So good. So good. Thank you so much, Christina. Trying to.
Please stick around if you can, so that we can take some questions. You could learn from other people's questions. We will just do another 15 minutes or so and we'll be out.
Yes. So people learned a lot about introspection, Omotola, the knowledge has always been there. Yes, I've expressed this in Grace of Keme, introspect and evaluate often. Great. Tomisin says, my take home is, if you want to go international, take international courses. Almost says one of the way to know what you desire is by who you admire in your career space. So good, so good. Augusta says the part about having a transition strategy has got me thinking. Self-introspection is key. Very good. Never seen exposure in this light. So good. Great, great, great. So we'll just be taking questions right now. So please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. So we can, yes, the comments are still rolling in. Don't get discouraged by the challenges. The grass is always not greener on the other side. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. So please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box so we can take questions now. Yeah. So Christina, while we wait for that, we have one question already. My question
so
is,
I'm laughing. It's Grace's question for me.
Can I, yes, can I have a personal
Grace,
class after this?
Grace, you know now. You know that your priority. Anything for you.
Yes. So while we wait for questions from other participants, Christina, we have one question here already. And
Okay,
it is, what can I do when I discover that my current job is not in alignment to the career I want to build for myself? At what point is it okay to switch jobs for a higher role or position? So I think there are two questions actually. So the first is, what do I do when I discover that my current job is not in alignment to the career I want to build for myself? Number two, at what point is it okay to switch jobs for a higher role or position? So I think you can take that first.
Okay.
Before we move.
Okay, so I think I've kind of answered the part one of the question. The moment you realize that there's a misalignment, I shared, a number of points for you. Please don't drop the ball where you are. But you need an exit strategy. You need a transition strategy. I mean, it's a lot to share on that. But some key things are, first, don't even start with resigning, right? Your transition strategy you would have to first work on trying to get some level of clarity. That's a summary of what your transition strategy will help you achieve. A transition strategy would emphasize taking on a journey to get some more level of clarity so that you know exactly what it is you should be doing next, all right? What's your next best thing to do? And then helps you prepare emotionally, financially, physically, all-round preparation, financial preparation, very important for a transition. So having a transition strategy, please, this is not because I'm trying to, just send you somewhere, but you should actually get the transition masterclass because it's so detailed. You will literally finish that class and be able to know that, okay, and you exactly know what day you should resign. You will set your resignation date if necessary as a result of that. And the truth about transitioning is that what I realized, which I also taught in that masterclass, is that some of you don't even need to leave your current organization. You just need to set yourself up for another role within the same organization. So now when people see a mismatch, they're thinking about leaving. But sometimes that mismatch is with your role. You could have another role in the same organization that fits better. So how do you even work towards getting to such a role? It's covered there as well. So the part B, sorry, can you take part B of that question again, please?
Yeah, at what point is it okay to switch jobs for a higher role or position?
At what point is it okay to switch jobs?
Yes.
Again, it depends. Are you switching jobs because you're going for a higher role? If you're going for a higher role, then one of the things that helps you, like I always say, don't move because you're running away from something. Move because you're running towards something, a bigger picture. So if you actually have a career goal and this desire that you're working with, it helps you know when it's time to move. Because you probably have already taken your current role with a certain goal in mind, like, okay, on this role, this is what I want to achieve for myself as well as the organization, right? So you're helping the organization achieve its goals while you're also trying to achieve yours. When you've achieved that goal, obviously, it's time to move. So if your goal, for example, was to be able to get to a certain level in terms of the results you deliver on that role, when you get there, you know that, okay, I'm ready now for the next big thing. So it's important, which is why that question of, some people just take jobs because, hey, they offered me a role, but how does this role help you advance towards your career goal, which is why you need to have a goal in the first place. So that when that purpose is fulfilled or achieved, you can know that, okay, it's time to move. That'll be my response. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Christina. We have other questions in the chat box. As a graduate trainee, what should be my standard of payment?
What should be your standard of payment?
Salary. Yeah, I think it has to be salary. Maybe salary.
Like how much should you be paid?
Yeah, yes, I think so.
Who
You can
am
just
I?
clarify. You can clarify.
Well, so anyway, let me know about, I think I have an idea where that question is coming from. So it varies depending on your industry, right? There is no flat rates for graduate trainees across board. For someone who's at entry level, know that many factors influence what you earn at graduate trainee level, and one of it is the industry you play. Some industries are able to pay more than others. All right, so that influences. Some other things that influence is the skill set you're coming to the table with. I know that, for example, in certain industries, more value or more money is paid to entry-level people who have certain skills. For example, in tech, people are entering at the same time, maybe earning differently because some people have more certain skills than others. All right, so these are some of the factors that play out. So it's hard to answer that question. I can't put an amount to it because it varies across industries, across regions. What someone earns in a particular state in Nigeria may not be the same that you earn in Lagos, all right, because economic factors are also playing out. So you have to do your research. And there are platforms that help with giving an idea of the numbers. You could sign up for some of such platforms as well.
All right, thank you, Christina. We have another question here. I'm interested in human resource, but I don't have enough finances to take CIPM. And I might be out of the country soon, and CIPM might not matter. I'm confused. What should I do?
I think you have your answer. But let me highlight it again. I think you have your answer. Why? Because some things are clear. You can't afford CIPM right now. You're planning to leave the country. Okay, with the benefit, I'd love to ask, are you leaving the country for a master's or what? Or another job that may be better paying, that can enable you afford? Because you might still have to do a professional exam if you're interested in HR, and perhaps it's not your background. Okay, so for you, if you're going to end up practicing in another country and you can already tell that now, then you want to look out for the global HR certifications which exist, right? You want to research on them and say, okay, from this country I'm going to, this is the one that is most acceptable. And then I'm now asking, so this is your relocation. Is it going to empower you better financially to be able to take those exams? Otherwise, you may want to still look for opportunities to finance those exams right now, even before you travel, since there's no guarantee that maybe there's a job there that can help you fund it. But if you don't have any HR background, what skill do you have? What can you do with what you have to be able to attract certain levels of income that you can then plow into taking the exams? So some people, for example, do interim jobs just to raise money to be able to take the exam for what they really want to do. And that's okay. That's working towards a desire, again, because you're saying, hey, I want to practice as this. I don't have the money for the exam. Let me do this job in the interim, raise money, take the exam. So I'm moving towards my desire. It may not look like it, but that's a sacrifice you're making. So I think that's the answer to that, really. What exam should you then be taking? How do you fund it with what you have? New job, you want to gain another skill, learn something online to be able to do some other side work to raise more money to be able to afford that. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Christina. We have, I think we could just take 5 questions and, we sort of
okay, because of time. Yeah.
Yes, because of the time. So the next question we have here is, how can I renew my passion for a role I don't necessarily enjoy? I'm trying to up my game, or it's glaring that administration is not my strong point, and I keep getting in trouble at work. I have been trying to do damage control, but I'm not getting it. What can I do?
Okay, thanks for that question. I like it, very detailed. So from all we shared today, I believe that you're already gaining some answers, but it's okay that you put your question out, for more insights on that. First, I always remember I've been saying something on this. Always, what are you working for? So you found out that, I mean, we're talking about exposure, and experience and enablement. So by exposure and by your work experience now, you know that, okay, administration is not for me. So what is for you? What are you better suited for? Okay, from what you've experienced, because as on that job, as you've experienced what is not good for you or what you don't enjoy, you probably have already come to knowledge of some things that you're also good at. How can you begin to take those things to shape a career that is better suited for you? So first you need to clarify that. And then what will you have to do to evolve into that career that is better suited for you based on what you know now? Now, so that, why is this important? So that you can have something you are looking forward to, even as you set up a transition strategy, because that's one of the ways to keep yourself motivated, knowing that, oh, I have 5 more months to be here, as opposed to there is no end, it's looking endless, right? And then for that part of the work that you're doing now, that you're not doing well enough, it's possible that by learning a bit more about your current job, you may be able to do better. So what's making the work suffer? You know, is it a skill gap? Is it a knowledge gap? Then get the knowledge. Because it's one thing, I mean, there are 2 things. There's the, I know how to do it, but I don't enjoy doing it. There's the, I don't know how to do it, therefore I don't enjoy doing it. So if it's a knowledge gap, if it's a skill gap, get it. So that while you're at that role, you may not enjoy it, but you should be able to at least do it well. All right. Competence is, I mean, we will never excuse lack of competence for I don't enjoy it. Remember my points for those who are not aligned. Great attitude to work at all times. You must deliver, whether you enjoy it or not. So your delivery is more largely impacted by your competence than just passion or not. So the feeling part, you can address the way you feel about the work by having something else you're looking forward to, because you've set a transition strategy that you're working on. So you're probably already taking a training on the side for that next job that you're going to take. So it's keeping you fueled. There's that personal drive. There's something that is driving you that is not the job, right? But it's influencing your ability to deliver on the job because it's creating some good emotion for you. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry, I'm answering, in shortest possible time. But yeah.
Yes. So we have another question here. Hello, Ma. Thank you for this session. My current job is an entry-level operations lead, but I don't feel fulfilled. I feel like there is more. The initial plan was to transition to project management, as I have a background in home economics education. The challenge now is I feel it would be strange going for an internship or graduate trainee role in project management. Please, how do you feel I should handle this? I think the transitioning must start first.
Again, but I can speak to it. That I mean, what I think the real issue is, why do you feel it's strange to go from where you are to where you desire? Like, what's strange there? Is it the fact that it's not connected to where you're coming from? We've seen these things in the workplace every other day. If you apply for a role and you can defend your desire for that role. For example, I remember when I was going from accounting to L&D, and I was taking my first job in corporate training. The mismatch was glaring, but I had to put effort into convincing my employer that this job is for me and I am for this job. This is the skill I have that I'm bringing to the table. It may not match where I'm coming from, but I know I can deliver. And I'd already gone ahead, of course, to also volunteer on the side. So if you're concerned about directly taking a graduate intern role, you feel like that transition doesn't look smooth enough, do you want to consider opportunities to volunteer in the project management space? Maybe a not-for-profit, help them volunteer your skill if you already have that skill or get it, all right? Help them manage their project so that when you are now trying to apply for a project management role, maybe you feel more confident having like a volunteering experience that speaks to project management and positions you to be able to get hired for such a role. I hope that helps you.
Thank you, Christina. I think we have 3 more questions to go. As a mid-level career professional with 5 to 7 years experience in the marketing comms industry, transitioning into product marketing in tech world, it's been difficult to get a product marketing manager role. Is it true that as one goes higher in a career, it's not easy to get mid-level or senior role except on referrals?
Very interesting. I think that, and I'm really, really proud of you for, transitioning into product marketing, which I believe and hope that is something that you are drawn to, So what may happen is that you may not be able to get a manager role. I guess you are gunning for one because of your work experience, how many years you've worked, right? Let me tell you my own story in brief, and I hope it helps. When I left accounting, I left as senior associate. When I went to join the consulting firm where I started out my L&D, management consultant, learning and development, corporate training, career proper, I did not get a senior role like that. In fact, I took a massive pay cut because you're transitioning in this new space. You don't have the experience like someone who has been here all that 5 to 7 years. And for you, there's even a connection, is marketing, but there's a twist to it still. So you may not be able to, for me, but guess what happened for me? Because I'd made up my mind that, okay, fine, this feels like a cut down or a setback, but I'm going to, remember I said something during this training, go hard, run so hard that I will cover this gap shortest possible time. No jokes. In my own situation, within 4 months of working on that role, I was given manager role, but I did not get at entry level, as in at the point I was entering, because they were not going to make me manager because you don't have experience in this space. You've been working, yes, nice experience, been 4 years, but we don't know. But when I got on board and then threw my weight in and put in the work, I was able to now get into that manager role and get that raise that I desired. And then I just covered up like that never happened. So I'm sharing that with you because that may be what's happening. It may not just be a case of, referrals are very, very important at mid-level as well. But one major thing that's also important is competence, demonstrated competence, not just I have the skill, demonstrated competence. And that's what experience in that field gives you. So if you don't have experience in that field, you may then find yourself having to take a lesser role, which is okay. Something I also thought about in the transition masterclass, preparing emotionally for possible cutbacks and even financial. And that's why you must also save up and prepare for transitions, holistically, because that cutback might also mean a drop in your income initially. But if you go hard, like I advise, you will cover that gap shortly. So that's my advice.
Yes. So the final question. Thank you very much, Christine. Thank you so much. So the final question we have is, what advice do you have for someone who pivoted based on the strengths they have? What advice do you have for someone who pivoted based on the strengths they have, only to discover that they don't enjoy the job as much?
This thing happens. It happens. It happens. That happened. I've had this experience before. It happens, and that's why in the transition masterclass I teach that before you quit and go to a new job, perhaps go and volunteer while holding on to your current job. Use your weekend to be in that space of what you think you enjoy. Because by volunteering, you're exposing yourself to that job or to that work, and you get a chance at minimal cost to either affirm to yourself that yes, but sometimes, some people have already gone ahead and, made that move. And so again, that means you have to transition again. Another pivot is upon you. So the question is, from that experience, what have you learned from that experience that you want to take further into your career journey? In other words, so you took this job now, you realize that, I don't really enjoy this job. So what have you learned about yourself and your competencies and your skills? And, what has that exposure, that experience, how can it flow into your career goal, your desire now for yourself? Like sometimes, I mean, I was speaking to someone the other day, and sometimes you may just realize that, hey, where I'm coming from, maybe what you thought you didn't enjoy there was actually something trivial. You were busy thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, so you left there. But from where you are now, do you think that where you're coming from is better suited for you? If yes, go back. I mean, go back may not mean to the same job. That same job may not be available again. But back to that field. And if it's not that field, it's not this one that you just experienced. Yeah. So what has your experience from all these fields, where you're coming from, where you are now? What have you learned about it, and how can it shape where you now work towards moving into? And then this time, prepare to manage your risk better so that this same thing doesn't play out, by making sure that whatever it is you're considering doing now, go and expose yourself to it first, by taking a course, by volunteering, by rolling with people in that field and asking them questions and putting yourself in their life, so that this doesn't repeat itself, again. But please don't beat yourself up about it. I'm even proud of you. You are tempted to move in the direction of your strength. All right. But hey, this is also why that whole conversation around transitioning and the strategy is so important, to avoid those kind of things. But it's okay. Just move forward. Look forward and move forward. All right.
Thank you, Christina. Sorry, we have just one last final question.
All right. So please shoot quickly.
So, how can I apply what I've learned in my daily life at work? Because sometimes I feel I need more knowledge. I need clarity, please.
Okay, that's not really clear. How can I apply what I've learned in my daily life at work? Because sometimes I feel I need more knowledge. Honestly, I'm not very clear about the question, right? Because what you learn from your daily life at work should be flowing into your work, and then flowing into your life in general. So for example, if it's the skills you're gathering on the job, right, you'll be using them on the job as you learn, right? If it's your soft skills, you're also building soft skills, emotional intelligence, communication. You're also going to be using them on the job, and also, in your life, your dealings. Maybe you also volunteer somewhere, you can translate the knowledge there as well. So if there's something else that I'm not getting in this question, please feel free to send an email or something. But that question is a bit unclear to me. So,
all right, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Christina, for such an enlightening session. I got value, learned a lot as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Yes, applause for Christina.
Thank you. Let me leave your faces.
Everyone.
It's been a great one. Thank you, everyone.
I'm in Nigeria. So I'll be taking announcements now. So thanks to everyone for joining and also engaging in tonight's session. Thank you so much. It was really an engaging session. The recording for tonight's session will be shared to everyone who registered via mail. Please don't forget to follow Christina, our dear founder and pioneer of DYP, at Christina Soname on all our social media channels. She's at Christina Show on Instagram and Christina Soname on LinkedIn. And we also have a DYP Telegram group chat where, we share some learning tips and, we just interact as career professionals. I know someone will be dropping the link to the Telegram group in the chat box shortly. So please feel free to, join the Telegram group and, just drop your questions, we would answer. And we also have our social media handles as well at Dear Young Professional. Please feel free to follow us for great content. And aside from that, I know Christina had mentioned that we have a career Bible called Dear Young Professional. That book has changed my life. If you're a career professional, you really need to get that book. And for you to get that, all you just need to do is click on the link in Dear Young Professional's Instagram bio. Once you click on the link, you would see several options on how you can, get the book. I'm very sure the link for the career transition masterclass would also be added there. If it's not there, please follow Christina Soname. It would definitely be on our bio. Then I think would also have a feedback form. I don't know if it has been shared. A feedback form as well will be shared. If it doesn't be shared in chat box, we'll most likely do that via email. Please feel free to get your send us your feedback on, learning points, how this session has, basically transformed you and things like that. Then on a final note, before I, just say good night to everyone, I think I need to reiterate that at DYP, we have monthly sessions, just like the one we had this night. And yes, please feel free to, always engage. Follow our Instagram page to know when we'll be having our next session for next month. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Opi has dropped the feedback link in the chat box. Please feel free to drop your feedback and, share with us. We want to know what you learned and, things like that, how you think we can serve you better. Yes, so with that, I think we've come to the end of tonight's session. Thank you once again, Christina. Thanks to everyone that, waited till the end. I think we spent like over 1 hour, 45 minutes on this call. Thank you so much, everyone. So with that, we say good night, everyone.